On that topic of sort of signing players, young players particularly, before sort of this anticipated promotion to Serie A, they also added Dany Mota from Juventus or Juventus under-23s over the summer as well, after he spent a short time on loan last season helping them be promoted to Serie B. And he's an interesting character because he's Luxembourg born, but he's a Portuguese youth international. And I suppose with many players at Juve, it's very unlikely ever to make the grade there. And he also speaks 5 languages apparently, which is 4 more than I can. So kudos to Dany Mota, who is the same age and can speak 4 more languages. But he's been playing regularly at under-21 level for Portugal, and I think that's an interesting subplot because we know how strong Portugal's under-21 side is. They've got Vitinha at Wolves, Florentino Luis, Rafael Leao, Pedro Gonçalves, who's doing very well at Sporting this year. He's playing sort of on the left side of the attack for a lesser club than his international teammates, and yet plays up front with the likes of Jotas for his national team, youth international team. From your observations of Dany Mota, what have you sort of garnered from that?
He's a really watchable player. He's lovely. I think the first thing that's interesting to say is that he's got, I think, the 3rd most minutes for them this season. And he's their joint top scorer with 4 goals, along with Kevin Prince Boateng. And there's quite a lot of responsibility there, with a massive squad. And as we've already said, if they're using 22 players in their last 5 games, you really want to focus on the players who are getting consistent minutes and are really part of that setup long term. And interestingly, the other players that are all plus 1,000 minutes are the gnarled old veterans. So Barbaras, Berlusconi, the former Leeds guy, and Donati, the right back. Mota, I guess when I watched him, I kind of got slightly, Daniel Podence light vibes. There's a low center of gravity, great ball carrying, nice, incisive, quick passing. He's not afraid to take players on. He's got the technical capability to, if he gets forced out towards the touchline, for example, he can skip past a challenge. But there's also an awareness of scoring opportunities, and again, the way that Monza like to play, the wide players do tuck inside. They're very, very good at making these late third man runs into the box, and Mota is either the person who's sort of setting that up and getting forwards to pull the ball back, or he's one of these players that's arriving late in. So there's a kind of dual threat there. And, I don't want to say like he massively stands out because this is an overall good squad. There's a lot of interesting players in it, but there is just a little sparkle of quality there that makes you realize that, like you say, the chances at Juventus were not going to come, but this is a player who clearly is operating at a level below where he should be. And again, I think seems like a really, really astute acquisition.
It's interesting that you mentioned that that Monza like to use these sort of interior forwards, if you will. The likes of having Kevin Prince Boateng, who has played up front in the past, Dany Mota, who's had good goal scoring seasons at the likes of Virtus Entella, and clearly has been a centre forward in previous years. That having that sort of dual threat in attack means that you've got 3 players going forward who and are exclusively going to be used going forward, who are very comfortable at taking on the goal scoring role. You don't have 3 attacking players where you've got a goal scorer and 2 creators playing, straddling him. You've got those 3 who are capable of picking up the slack if your traditional number 9, in air quotes, so to speak, isn't sort of having his best day. So I think, that speaks to why he is joint top scorer, why the goals are perhaps spread out quite well around this Monza team.